It's 2:00 a.m. The city outside is a graveyard of silent streets and broken promises, and the only thing alive in this room is the low, persistent hum of my computer and the cold, blue glow of a screen that just told me I'm a loser. I just took a hit, a big one, and my stop-loss didn't just trigger. It felt like a door slamming in my face, locking me out in the cold. Most people look at a red candle on a chart and see a statistical outlier, a minor deviation in a probabilistic model that is just part of the game. But my brain isn't that logical right now. It doesn't see a trade, it sees a personal insult, a slap across the face from a market that is supposed to be neutral, but feels like a predator hunting my self-worth. I go back to that screen not to trade, not because the setup is there or because my rules tell me it's time, but because I have a desperate, bone-deep need to get even. I'm no longer looking at the charts, the moving averages, or the volume bars. I'm looking into a mirror of my own anger, and in this dark room, being wrong feels like a threat to my very survival. We call this revenge trading, but in the cold, clinical world of neuroscience, it has a much darker name: aggressive impulsivity, a state of temporary insanity where your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that handles logic, planning, and your trading rules, completely goes offline. Your brain was never designed for the stock market. It was built for the wilderness of 100,000 years ago, where a loss of resources meant starvation and death. So when your account drops, your brain's alarm system, the amygdala, triggers a fight-or-flight response in just 12 milliseconds. This is an amygdala hijack, a biological shortcut where sensory data hits the emotional center of your brain before your rational mind even gets the memo, flooding your body with cortisol and adrenaline before you even realize you've clicked the mouse. In this state, your effective IQ can drop by 15 points, and your ability to make smart, complex decisions is slashed by nearly 60%, meaning you are literally, biologically, incapable of rational thought. You aren't a trader anymore. You're a cornered animal trying to fight a predator that is actually just a neutral collection of buy and sell orders. And while your brain is screaming for revenge, the math is waiting to bury you because of the brutal asymmetry of recovery math. A 10% loss only takes an 1% gain to fix, but as the numbers get bigger, the ladder gets steeper. A 25% loss requires a 33% gain, and a 50% loss requires a massive, near impossible 100% gain just to get back to where you started. Because you are biologically wired for loss aversion, you feel the pain of that loss roughly 25 times more intensely than the joy of a win, which is why you fall into the disposition effect, where you sell your winning trades too early just to feel safe, but you hold your losing trades way too long because closing them would make the pain permanent. This is the sunk cost fallacy in action. You tell yourself you've already lost enough so you might as well stay in, even though the market doesn't know or care about your entry price or your feelings. If you can't walk away after a loss, you've already lost the next trade because willpower is a limited fuel tank that runs dry the moment your emotions take the wheel, and you're left driving blind through a storm of your own making. You need a 15-minute cooldown protocol to interrupt this reactive sequence. The second you hit 50% of your daily loss limit, or take 2 losses in a row, you must close the laptop and set a timer because this 15-minute window is the only thing standing between professional success and a blown account. It takes that long for the stress chemicals like cortisol to even begin clearing your bloodstream. Neuroscientist Jill Bolt Taylor found that a chemical emotional surge only lasts 90 seconds, and anything you feel after that 90-second mark is actually a choice you are making by staying at the screen and feeding the narrative of your own failure. During this break, you need to use the 4-7-8 breathing technique, inhaling for 4, holding for 7, and exhaling for 8, which takes exactly 95 seconds to complete a cycle and signals to your nervous system that the predator is gone and you are safe, allowing the oxygen to return to your rational brain. Then you need to name it to tame it, literally writing down that you feel angry, ashamed, or desperate in a journal, because the act of labeling the emotion has been proven to pull the blood flow away from the reactive amygdala and back into the logical prefrontal cortex where your edge lives. Amateurs treat every loss like a personal failure that defines their worth, but professionals treat them like a business expense. Just like a restaurant owner pays for rent, electricity, or broken plates without having a psychological breakdown. To the pro, a loss isn't a mistake. It's a data point, a receipt for the price of seeing if their statistical edge would work on that particular trade in a world where anything can happen. You have to stop expecting the market to validate your ego and start treating it as a neutral field of probabilities, where you don't need to know what happens next to make money over the long term. When you master your biology, you master your P and L, moving from the cognitive layer of just following a strategy to the identity layer, where you are a person who follows rules no matter how much the red candles sting. The market isn't out to get you, and it isn't trying to steal your money. It's just moving from one price to the next, and the only person who can truly hurt your account is the person looking back at you in the monitor's reflection, the one who refuses to let go of the anger. If you've ever felt that mirror of anger after a loss or found yourself clicking the button just to feel something other than the pain of being wrong, you aren't alone. It's how we're wired. But the difference between the 99% who fail and the 1% who smash it is the ability to recognize the hijack and walk away before the damage is done. Leave a comment below and tell me the one rule you use to keep your cool when the market hits you hard. Because we're building a tribe of disciplined, professional traders here who know that the real battle isn't in the charts, it's in the mind. If you want to keep rewiring your brain for consistent, professional profits and move beyond the emotional traps that destroy most retail accounts, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a lesson on the inner game of the markets. Stay disciplined, trust your 15-minute timer, and remember that the market will always be there tomorrow, but your capital won't be if you trade with a heart full of revenge.